Hello everyone. In this video, we'll be learning about continental drift theory. Continental drift theory was given by Alfred Wegener. So, when we move in the geography, there are the three important theories of geomorphology, namely, first, continental drift theory, second, sea spreading theory, and third, plate tectonic theory. So, in this video, we'll be learning about one of the theories called as continental drift theory. So, our first character is Alfred Wegener. Who was Alfred Wegener? Alfred Wegener was the first person to propound movement of continents. He said that continents might be moving due to some reason, and to prove that reason, he gave a theory called as continental drift theory. So he made some observation in continental drift theory. To prove that continental drift theory was a correct theory, he made some observations. And what were those observations? So his first observation was matching coastlines and the zigs of it. So now actually what was this? So he said that fit of the continents, when we merge the continents together, or when we come together continents, they make a boundary, and that boundary feed each other. When we merge the continents, they form a supercontinent. This is the easy idea. So now in this image you can see that when we merge the continents, their boundaries fit each other perfectly in this image too and in this image too. So now, what was his second observation? His second observation was regarding fossil evidences. Now, actually, what fossil evidences are? So, the fossil evidences. Suppose in this image, this animal was particularly found in South America. But when we studied about the animals or the fossils, he came to know that the animal founding in South America were found in Africa. He also founded that fossils which were found in South America came to found in Africa, India, Antarctica, Australia, and many other places. So this gave a simple idea that once upon a time the continents may have been a supercontinent. His third observation was rock types and mountain ranges. Now, actually, what this is? So he gave the idea of rock types. He studied about the rocks of Appalachian Mountains in USA, Newfoundland in Canada, Greenland, and also Scottish Highland UK and Jolin Mountains in Norway. And after he studied, he came to know that age and the composition of this rock was similar. So this also gave an idea that yes, the continents together may have formed a supercontinent. So let us move forward. This was about his third observation. Now, actually, what was his fourth observation? His fourth observation was climatic evidence, or we can say paleoclimatic evidences or the glacial evidences in the tropical lands. So, what is actually paleoclimate? Paleoclimatology is the study of ancient climates. So, we can come to know that paleoclimate is ancient climates. So, south part of South America, south part of Africa, south part of India, or we can say Africa, again Australia and Antarctica. In this image, you can see this white portion there. So there, this portion. So he said that he came to know that the glacial landforms once upon a time eroded, and he found the glacial evidences there. So now, what is glacial evidence? When the glacial landform erode, they form a new landform. Suppose, for example, landform of the rivers form riverine landform, even wind form different landforms, and many more. When he studied, he also came to know that when glacial evidences eroded, then its glacial tilites sediments. Tilites is nothing but a kind of rock or sedimentary rocks which are found due to in glacier regions. So when he studied the sediments, he came to know that how sediments was eroded. Like after he studied the sediments, he came to know where the sediments were from, which place the same sediments are, and many more things. So it's obvious that talking about glacial evidences. So now countries like India, Africa, South America, Australia are tropical countries in today's century or in today's world. So you may be thinking that how were glacial evidences found in the tropical countries, and that also in a specific region? So this concludes that once upon a time this land was near southern pole. So let us move forward. And now let us see about continental drift theory. So now what is continental drift theory? I gave an idea to you that continental drift theory was given by Alfred Wegener. So now what actually continental drift theory told us? Continental drift theory gave an idea about a supercontinent by the four evidences given by Alfred Wegener, and this supercontinent was known as Pangaea. But the idea of Alfred Wegener reached till Pangaea only. It does not extend it forward and gave the idea of Rodinia. Rodinia was not given by Alfred Wegener. Rodinia is also a supercontinent only. So again, the continental drift theory gave an idea of super ocean, or we can say a large ocean or ocean together, or the super ocean, that is Panthalassa. The super ocean together was known as Panthalassa. Continental drift theory also gave something about seal rocks, that is, seal rocks is found in continents, and seama rocks are found on oceans, and many more. So, this gave the idea about seal rocks and seama rocks too. Again, it gave mid Mesozoic Pangaea broke up and it drifted apart. So, this continental drift theory gave an idea that almost in the mid Mesozoic time, that is before 300 million or 400 million before, there was a supercontinent known as Pangaea, and it broke down and it drifted. So if we look forward, we can see the subparts of Pangaea, that is Laurasia and Gondwana. That is other thing. Okay. So this continental drift theory gave the idea about supercontinent, super ocean, seal rocks, seama rocks, and mid-Mesozoic Pangaea. So when we move forward, we can see there were some limitations. There were some limitations of continental drift theory. But what were the limitations actually? So some of the evidences were continents seems to fit each other. Then second was fossil record, which we already saw. Again, we see the rock structure and the rock ages, which Wegener studied, and also glacier debris, that is like glacial tilites and all, as we saw. And there were some problems, or there was some limitation of continental drift theory. So what were actually they? The continental drift theory couldn't answer the questions like why can the continents move? As we know, continents were together. So how did they spread it? How did they drifted? This was not given by continental drift theory. So when there were a question arising that how may have the continents moved and all, again so the it was something continents move. So the answer of the Wegener to this question was something different, and he said that the force of attraction between sun and moon is so high. It is that high that it can make the continents move. But this was not a correct reason, and due to this was not a correct reason, it was rejected. So attraction between moon and sun is not so high, so this could not be a reason. So there was one more geographer known as Jaffric Arke. He said that if the force between the sun and moon was so high, it was so high, then due to the force of attraction between sun and moon, once upon a time earth may have stopped rotating. So because of this, the idea given by Wegener was said false or rejected. So now still he have to prove that his continental drift theory was correct. So he gave idea about Sial and Sima. Yes, we saw na Sial and Sima rocks. So actually, what was this? What did he say in this? So let us see that what did he say in this. Sial. As we know, Sial are the continental rocks, and Seamas are the oceanic rocks. So, like when he was giving his idea, there was some more question raised that why do earthquake take place? So, what he said was when there is friction between Sial and Sima, when there is friction between Sial and Sima, when as we know, Sial floats on Sima, this was told by Wegener. So there may be some friction, and due to this reason, earthquake causes. This was a simple idea. But okay, this was fine, but there was again some question raised, and the second question was why do volcanism occur? So what he said was during there is a friction between Sial and Sima, there may be some cracks gone to Sima layer, and due to this molten lava comes out and it causes volcanoes. Okay, this question was also fine, but the next question and the third question was how do mountains are formed? So his reply there was when Sial mass and the Sima mass float on each other, we know due to the scratching or the friction, some of the sediments of Sima or Sial will come together and it will raise to heights and form the mountains. So his thing was that now the Sial and Sima rocks will create some sediments, and then it will raise up to heights, and it will cause like a mountain. But if it was so, then the mountains were only found at the borders of or the coast of the continents. So because of this reason, this theory was rejected. So but what was the reality? You may be thinking now that what is the reality if this is not true? So the reality is something about lithosphere. Now what is lithosphere? In this image we can see that here it's in this image here we can see that this is oceanic crust. This is continental crust, and here we can see a thin layer, that is upper mantle. So upper mantle, so we can say that the upper mantle plus oceanic crust plus continental crust together is known as lithosphere. So here we can see this blue color, again this brown color, and this something mustard color. This three together forms a layer, and that layer is called as lithosphere. So the reason is that lithosphere consists of different plates. So this lithosphere floats on the semi-molten or semi-plastic layer that is called as asthenosphere. Here we can see that asthenosphere, there is a layer in orange color, and above that lithosphere float, that is upper mantle plus ocean crust plus continental crust. This is the true reason. So now there is entry of a new character, and that is none other than Arthur Holmes. So actually, who was this? Arthur Holmes was one of the English geologists, and he gave the idea, or he gave the theory of convection current theory. So actually, what this theory is? So he said that behind lithosphere, in the mantle, there must be formation of convection cell. Now you'll be thinking, what is this convection cell? Convection cell is none other than molten rocks moving like a cell. So in this image, you can see here, these are the convection cell. This are also the convection cell. So convection cell moves in a particular direction like a cell. So like what was the idea behind this? Let us see. In this image we can see this is a convection cell, this is also a convection cell, this is lithosphere's layer. So now let us see what's actually the reason. So when there are converging limbs, when this comes together, when limbs come together, or the convection cells move together, like they come together, then it led to the converging continents, like then the continents converge with each other or form a supercontinent. But when the limbs get diverge from each other, like they go away from each other, then uh, the continents which are there, they get separated and they move away from each other. So if the convection cell have a rising lumps, they will apply high force on the continental crust, and this may lead to the breakdown of the continental crust. This is the simple idea. And if the convection cells are converging, they bring two continents together or nearby. So in this we learn about how the continents came together or get diverged from each other. This may be one of the reasons that was given by Arthur Holmes. So in this video, I think this video was helpful. In this video we also learned about continental drift theory. Second is convection current theory. Also we learned about Sial and Sima rocks. Again, limitation of the continental drift theory, what are the ideas of the continental drift theories, and also some of the mechanisms, or also some of the three important theories of geomorphology. One of them have been covered in this video, and next would be covered soon. Hope so this video was helpful. Thank you.